Imagine you're standing in your living room, perfectly safe, wearing a virtual reality headset. In your eyes, you are standing on the edge of a 1,000-foot skyscraper. You know it's fake. You can feel the carpet under your feet. Your legs start to shake. Your heart begins to hammer against your ribs. And then the nausea hits. You aren't moving an inch, yet your body is acting as if you're falling to your death. This is the great sensory contradiction of the modern world, and it's the exact same reason why a simple car ride can turn into a physical nightmare. Evolution is a brutal accountant. It doesn't like waste. It doesn't like inefficiency. And it absolutely hates risks that don't have a guaranteed survival payoff. Every trait your mind possesses had to earn its place in the blueprint by helping your ancestors stay alive long enough to have children. If a trait costs too much energy or puts you in danger for no reason, nature usually deletes it. So here is the paradox. Why would nature evolve a way to punish you for being safe? Why would your brain, a machine designed for high-stakes survival, actively try to disable you with sickness when you are simply sitting in a chair or a car? Logically, your brain should be at its most peaceful when you aren't doing the hard work of hunting or gathering. But in the dark of your subconscious, your brain has decided that your car or your VR headset isn't a piece of technology. It's a neurotoxin. Today we're decoding the poison detection glitch and why the most advanced machine on Earth thinks your commute is a life or death emergency. Welcome to Logic Schema. To understand why your brain is currently having a massive logical error, we have to look at the hardware inside your head. Humans are the masters of the planet, not because we are the strongest, but because we are the most coordinated. To move through a prehistoric world, we needed an incredibly accurate internal GPS. This system is your vestibular system, and it lives deep inside your inner ear. Think of it as a set of 3 tiny, fluid-filled spirit levels arranged at right angles to each other. As you move, that fluid sloshes around, brushing against tiny hairs that send a high-speed data stream to your brain saying, "Hey, we're moving forward," or "Heads up, we're tilting left." At the same time, your eyes are sending their own data stream saying, "I see the trees moving past us, so I agree, we are definitely moving." In the biological blueprint of a human, these two systems are supposed to be perfectly synchronized. For 99.9% of our history, if the fluid in your ears was moving, your eyes were seeing the world move, and your muscles were feeling the effort of movement. There was no mismatch. Your brain had a 100% confidence rating in its reality because you were the one doing the work. But modern technology has created a glitch in this system that our ancestors never had to worry about. Here is the core of the problem. In the Stone Age, passive motion simply didn't exist. For millions of years, if you were moving, you were the one providing the power. Travel was a physical labor. There were no trains, no planes, and no backseat of a car. If your body was moving, your muscles were engaged and your heart rate was up. When an ancient human moved, their body sent a constant stream of effort signals back to the brain. Their muscles were constantly micro-adjusting to stay upright on uneven ground or during a high-stakes hunt. The human brain never evolved to handle the impossible data of sitting perfectly still while the world whizzes by at 60 miles per hour. This is a sensory contradiction that was biologically impossible for 50,000 years. To your 50,000-year-old brain, sitting still while experiencing high-velocity movement is a massive red flag. It is a logic error that suggests something has gone horribly wrong with your internal wiring. And in the ancient survival logic of the brain, there's only one reason why your senses would ever disagree so violently. You've been poisoned. General Motors isn't a type of venomous snake, but your brain doesn't know that yet. It only knows that the eyes and ears are telling 2 different stories, and in the wild, that means you're in trouble. This brings us to the core of the glitch. To your brain, the cost of a false positive, thinking you're poisoned when you aren't, is low. But the cost of a false negative, ignoring actual poison, is death. Imagine you are an ancient gatherer. You find a bush of berries that looks like something safe, but it's actually a toxic look-alike. You eat them, and 10 minutes later, the neurotoxins hit your system. Suddenly, the toxins start interfering with the nerves connecting your ears to your brain. Your vision starts to blur, and your inner ear starts to feel dizzy even though you are standing still. Your brain detects a sensory mismatch. In that moment, your brain doesn't have a car mode or a VR mode to switch into. It only has survival mode. When it sees the mismatch between your eyes and your ears today, it assumes the exact same thing. We have ingested a poison that is attacking our nervous system. We need to purge the contents of the stomach immediately. Motion sickness isn't a disease. It's a security system trying to save you from a berry you never actually ate. It is a high-performance survival mechanism that is currently having a massive logic mismatch with the 21st century. Your brain is still guarding you against the threats of the wild, even when those threats are just a highway and a smartphone. You might think it's illogical to throw up when you're just trying to get to work. But let's look at the specific biological details of what your body is doing. This is what we call the flush protocol. By the time you feel dizzy, your brain calculates that some poison has already hit your blood, but there might still be more poison in your stomach. This is why you experience that sudden rush of saliva. It isn't random. Your body is producing an alkaline buffer to protect your tooth enamel and your throat from the corrosive stomach acid that is about to come up. It's a proactive defense mechanism. Then comes the cold sweat. Your body is preemptively cooling your skin because the act of vomiting is a violent, high-energy muscular event that would otherwise cause your core temperature to spike to dangerous levels. Every single miserable symptom of motion sickness, the nausea, the saliva, the sweating, is actually a highly coordinated prep sequence for a life-saving stomach evacuation. Your body is literally preparing for a high-stakes emergency to save the tribe's gene pool. In the ledger of the brutal accountant, it is better to have you dehydrated and weak for a day than to have you dead from a neurotoxin. You might notice that while you're dying in the passenger seat, your friend is perfectly fine. This brings up an interesting question of variation. Why didn't evolution make the system uniform? It turns out that having different settings for this alarm was a vital tribal survival strategy. In the prehistoric world, you needed different levels of sensitivity within a group. You needed some people with the high sensitivity schema, the ones whose brains reacted to the slightest sensory glitch. They were the ultimate poison detectors for the tribe. If a new food source was even slightly toxic, they were the first to know, acting as a biological warning for everyone else. On the flip side, you needed people with lower sensitivity who could keep moving and hunting even when they were slightly off balance. If you are one of the people who gets carsick easily, you aren't weak. You are simply the descendant of the most poison-aware survivors in history. Your smoke detector is just set to the highest possible sensitivity to ensure that not a single toxic molecule ever gets past your defenses. This is why virtual reality is such a massive trigger. In a VR headset, your eyes see you flying through a digital canyon, but your inner ear says, "We are sitting on a swivel chair in a basement." It's the exact opposite of car sickness, but the brain's Logic Schema reaches the same conclusion. Sensory mismatch equals neurotoxin equals flush the system. We are currently living in a massive evolutionary mismatch. Our Stone Age brains are constantly confused by the modern world. We've created a world of passive motion and digital simulations that our biological blueprint doesn't understand. We are the first generation of humans who are successfully curing the very thing that made us masters of this planet by using pills to silence a 50,000-year-old survival alarm. So, the next time you're leaning out of a car window or staring at the horizon on a boat, don't be mad at your body. You're just listening to a 50,000-year-old survival expert living inside your head. Your brain isn't broken. It's actually working perfectly. It's running the math of the poison detection glitch, ensuring that you remain part of the long, unbroken line of humans who are too safe to be poisoned. We are the species that survived predators and disease because our brains were obsessed with detecting even the smallest threats. If you want to dive deeper into the hidden systems governing your daily life, make sure to subscribe to Logic Schema. We are decoding the biological blueprint of humanity, one glitch at a time. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into the secrets of our past. And remember, If your head starts to spin, your brain just thinks you've been eating the wrong berries. Thanks for watching and stay curious.